You're watching Mc&T's Sports Report on CHCO-TV. And now, here's two guys who have done 75 episodes. I pegged them for 7 or 8 tops. Evan and Joe.
Welcome to episode 75 of Mc&T Sports Report. I'm Joe Ticotsky, finally back in New Haven, Connecticut.
I'm Evan McFarlane, who's actually just touching ground back in New Brunswick.
There we go. And now that summer has basically come to an end, we can both catch our breaths. Big month coming up for our show is not only is this our 75th episode, but the following episode will be our big 5th anniversary show. Just pure insanity.
Wow, roll out the red carpet. I know it's on order.
Exactly.
Wow.
All right, yeah, why don't you start us out? Catch us up on the summer of Evan.
Summer's done. I feel like I didn't have summer. I actually woke up this morning and was like, oh my, it's September. That's unreal. It flew by. I mean, the town of St. Andrews was just absolute chaos all summer. So you get caught up in that pretty quick. I mean, the golf season's fairly rapid, and once you put your head down and you look back up and it's Christmas time. So we're getting there. Really good year for the town, good year for the course. Had some big events out here. Nice to have some provincial events back. We had the men's amateur here, which was really good. In terms of I haven't really been doing it, man. The fall of Evan is what we're going for. Summer of Evan didn't really exist.
All right, but tell us about this PGA day that you basically organized to support colitis and Crohn's disease.
Yeah, absolutely. So PGA Day has been around for quite a while, but it's a day that professionals in the PGA of Canada Association will basically dedicate their day to raising money for awarenesses. So typically it's all for one cause. PGA of Canada was doing prostate cancer this year, and then I've had this idea in my head that I could probably go on top of that with kind of my experiences with Crohn's and colitis. And I thought of just doing this little thing where myself and the director of golf, Zach Rodriguez, my assistant pro at the course as well, Luke Miles, and our head superintendent, Steve Williams, like, why don't the four of us just go play 100 holes of golf and try to raise a little bit of money and see what we can do. And as soon as we put that word out, the feedback and support was crazy. I mean, Levelware Canada jumped on board and kind of outfitted us in some nice uniforms, so we looked good and matched all day. And then once I posted what we were doing, the financial support from people around the area and anyone that I've known, it was almost overwhelming, to be honest. In the end, we raised just shy of about $10,000. Which was about double what we kind of intended to do. And I think it just gets bigger going forward. But it was an awesome day. We had members and guests come out and kind of visit us on the course. There's some special guests. You'll see some clips in a little bit. But yeah, we did it. We played 100 holes. We started at 6:30 in the morning. We ended at 8:45 at night. It was a very long day. And thankfully that we had so much food delivered to us, or else we wouldn't have made it.
Yeah, we've always been quite the charitable person up in your area, and CHCO covered it a little bit. So let's take a look at some clips from that event.
Oh, wait, here. Oh, here's right. So I'll park here. The rest of them are
Oh, you can go down if you want. Jump out.
Two of the exact same shots left. One of these is going to... That's what I meant to do. That's the one. There it is. It's easier when you see it.
Brad, tell us a little bit about why it was important for you to come out today.
Well, first of all, if anyone knows Evan McFarlane, he's a fantastic community member, and the things that he does, not just for members, but junior golf in particular. The community really supports Evan, and if you know his journey around Crohn's and colitis, and the fact that at one point in his life, his health was deteriorating very fast, and the fact that he, when he was in the hospital bed, he decided he wanted to go back to golf roots and kind of follow his passion and his dream. I think you want to follow that. And then, of course, Crohn's and colitis is certainly a worthwhile cause. Personally, in my life, with my family, I have a loved one that it impacts greatly. So on a personal note, it's important to be here as well. But at the end of the day, if Evan's doing any charity event that he has in the community, I'd love to be a part of it.
Evan, tell us a little bit about what organizing today was all about.
Yeah, there's been a lot to it, but it's all come together through like the chorus of my friends, and the support of the community has been unreal. And honestly, like, I'm just out here spending the day with like some of my really good work friends, and we're having a blast. But the people that have came out here and given us food and just stopped in and asked how we're doing has been amazing. And the organization's it's not that hard. Staff's done their job today. People are letting us play through really fast, and we got about 20 holes to go, and we're starting to get a bit tired, but it's been a lot of fun.
Tell us a little bit about how your journey with your illness led you to golf and making it your profession.
Yeah, absolutely. Things were extremely stressful, which I think was a big part into why I got sick. And just being able to come back and do something that I enjoy doing has been absolutely huge. So just in the hospital, it happened to be, I'm a big Tiger Woods fan. He won the Masters that year, and I remember sitting in recovery while he was coming up the 18th hole, and the nurse came in to check my vitals. And as she walked in, I was like, you are going to need to come back in about 20 minutes. My heart rate is racing right now. I'm very excited. And the first person who visited me was Jason Porter, and he invited me to come back and work here, and I've been back since.
How has the game of golf helped you with your recovery?
I think it's kind of just put things into perspective that I was working a little bit too hard in the wrong areas before. Stress out here is pretty limited stress for the most part. A tough day is a lot better than the tough days that I used to have, and like, it's really, you hear people say it's pretty easy to come to work when you love what you're doing, and I come here every day, and it's been awesome. Wow, those clips are awesome. And special thanks to Patrick and Vicky for coming out that day and doing what they do best and making us look really good. But aside of my summer, Joe, your summer was pretty crazy as well, wasn't it? Maybe give us a little snippet of what you did.
Yeah, it was a sprint after attending some AAU tournaments in Cincinnati and Washington, D.C. and Chicago. I buckled up and made a run for the border for St. Andrews as we ran our basketball by the sea camp for the 10th year. And happy to say, for the first time ever, we sold out both the morning and night sessions. Yeah, great job by the campers and the staff. We had our 3 Canadians, Elias Eldridge, an SJDA grad and Dalhousie student, Aslan Burns of provincial AA champ St. Stephen High School, and Kara Pauck of RNS. And I can't forget my 2 American compadres, Vinny Sanfrani, who I call my cousin Vinny, who came up to St. Andrews for the first time in his life with his wife Michelle and daughter Maddie. And as predicted, all 3 fell in love with the town. I think Maddie wore out the water slide at the Algonquin there, and you met them. And of course, my good friend, Yale's finest, Brandon Sherrod. We also had 2 college players from UNB come in to speak. Anne from Montreal and Leah from Calgary. So it was, we're pretty happy with how we've sort of expanded the reach of the camp to include so many Canadians up there. And then I hoofed it up to your favorite area, or one of them, PEI, for a few days. My goodness, what a gorgeous province. You spent some time there. Yeah. I mean, that's where my partner's from. We're there quite a bit. And ironically enough, when you messaged me, you were about 10 paces from our place over there, unknowingly to you too. So that's hilarious. Yeah. I initially stayed near Cavendish, no sighting of Anne of Green Gables. Hit up Charlottetown for a bit. And then where you had mentioned, I went to a concert in a small community hall in Mont Carmel. Is that how it's pronounced? Yep. Correct. And of course, the concert host and the first act were all in French. So I just clapped when everyone else did and laughed when everyone else, they probably were laughing at me. And they were, for sure. Yeah. Then I just had to yell out, "Hello, does anyone in here speak English?" No, I didn't do that. But it was all. And then to finish it off at this concert, there was a 17-year-old fiddler from PEI named Luca Hall. And this kid was amazing. He had an accordionist with him, guitar player. At the end, they had Irish step dancers. And so I will make him our music spotlight on this episode. You can look him up on Facebook or on his website at lucahallmusic.com, and it's Luka. Gorgeous area. And leading into this break, I'll have Flo pop up a few of my vacation pictures from PEI New Brunswick. And after the break, we'll have parts of an interview that Vicky Hogarth did with yours truly and Brandon Sherrod last month on her CHCO show, Southwest Magazine. You're watching Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV.
I'm Vicky Hogarth, and welcome to Southwest Magazine. Today I am joined by Joe Ticotsky and Brandon Sherrod of Basketball by the Sea Camp here in St. Andrews by the Sea. Thank you both for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Brandon, since we last talked, I want to talk first about you are now the assistant coach at Yale University. It is where you went to university as well and played basketball. So this is a new development since we last sat down. How did that come about, and how did this season go?
Yeah, no, it was a really random call I got from my coach back in May of last year. He asked me if I wanted to join the staff, and I'd actually already been signed to play another season professionally in Israel. But I just thought it was a good opportunity to come back to a place that I was very familiar with, and I was able to spend some time with family and friends that I hadn't seen for a while. And so I decided ultimately to join the team, and we got a chance to win an Ivy League championship this year. Went to the NCAA tournament and upset Auburn in the first round, and that's the second time in school history that's ever happened. And the first time was when I was playing. So I guess I don't know. I don't lose in the first round in the NCAA tournament. That's all I'll say. But it's been fun, and I'm grateful to be back.
I wanted to start off with that just to give people at home an idea of the caliber of coaches that we have at Basketball by the Sea here in our small town of St. Andrews. It's incredible to have you both here. And Joe, let's talk about, for people who don't know, this is the 10th year of Basketball by the Sea since it started. How did you, a man from Connecticut, end up coming to St. Andrews to bring this incredible camp to our community?
Well, before we start, he plugged his university, my alma mater, University of Connecticut, won the NCAA championship for the second year in a row. But and Brandon is the only person in school history to win a game in the tournament as a player and a coach. So that's impressive. But back to your original question. 10 years ago in January, I went to a concert in Fredericton, had never been to the province, emailed the music director and the festival director and said, is there a good detour I could take for a day if I'm coming all the way up there? He suggested St. Andrews. He said it would be a little bit dead in the middle of January, which he was absolutely correct about. So being a basketball person, I contacted the athletic director at the school, asked if they had a game. He said they didn't, but invited me to a practice. And then he said, I'm going to start running a camp this summer. Do you have coaches that you could bring up with you? And I run a girls AAU travel basketball program. So I brought Brandon, who I hadn't known at all before, along with a couple other coaches. And then about a month after the camp, the director moved out of town. So I took over the camp. And it was sort of as simple as that. And Brandon is the only one left from 2014 that's still standing as a staff member.
There you go.
I know. I feel like I've sat down with both of you almost every year that you've been
seen us
here.
grow.
That's true. That's true.
Joe, for people who aren't familiar with the camp, and I think so many people are, but give people an overview of who comes to the camp, who it's for, and like what skill level.
Okay, it's grades 5 through 12. And it's from beginners to usually the high school kids are experienced in basketball. They're usually not going to a specialty camp at that age unless they've played. And we've really seen the skill level grow a lot since we first started here. But we get kids who play very little basketball, and some kids drive an hour to get to the camp. We've had years where kids took a ferry to get here, which we thought was pretty wild. But yeah, and we focus on skills work as opposed to just playing games the whole time, while still making a fun atmosphere.
And now, do you said people maybe take a ferry here, and that's likely in our part of the world. With some of the islands, do people ever use their passports? Do you get travelers from both sides of the border, given that
we
so
have
close?
kids that have been on vacation from the States. We had one year we had a couple kids from Iceland who were visiting relatives here. We had kids from Boston who were visiting. So it's usually vacationers that are here.
And Brandon, we talked about you as both a player for Yale and also as now assistant coach, but you also have an incredible history playing professional basketball overseas in Italy specifically. Can you tell people a little bit about where your basketball career has taken you from Yale and beyond?
Yeah, so I was able to play 4 years at Yale, and after Yale I was in Italy for 5 seasons, as you mentioned, and then I had a brief stint in Finland for 3 months. I played for the Helsinki Seagulls and got to live in the capital. And then after that, I went to Israel for 2 seasons, played for Maccabi Ra'anana my first year, and then Maccabi Rehovot, which is a city about 25 minutes south of Tel Aviv, for my second season, and then ended up finishing my career last year when I went to join the staff. But it's been a tremendous ride. You know, I'm very grateful to have experienced different cultures, and I think coming here to Canada every year has been a great sort of reset. Before going into the next season as a player, and then now as a coach, I'm able to do that as well. And so I'm grateful that Joe is still keeping this thing going, and I can be a part of it.
I think when people see a professional basketball player, they think they could never reach those heights. But I know that your backstory and your personal growth in the sport of basketball is really inspirational. And I'm wondering if you can share that with people at home right now, how you got started in the sport and how it transformed your life.
Yeah, when I was a freshman in high school, I was 315 pounds, never had played basketball in any organized way before, aside from like Sterling House Community League, which was not very competitive. And after my freshman year, I lost 100 pounds just from playing every day and really getting into the gym. And I really took a liking to the sport and went from only starting on my freshman team my freshman year to starting varsity my second year and winning a state championship at Stratford High School. And then went on my junior and senior year. We didn't lose a regular season game, and by the time I reached my last season, I was the Gatorade Player of the Year from Stratford High, and then went on to play a prep school year at Choate, which is a prep school in Wallingford, Connecticut, and then Yale and beyond. I think when I look back at my career as a basketball player, the one thing that I truly enjoyed was just the process of getting better. And I was also very grateful for the people who were in my life and helped me along the way, because without them I wouldn't have been able to excel and achieve the things that I did achieve. And for every kid that we get to work with, it's an opportunity for me to also kind of instill that same sort of confidence and faith and hope that they can accomplish whatever their goals are, both on the basketball court or off the basketball court. But there are lessons that really, I think, transcend between the lines of real life and athletic life, is perseverance, dedication, controlling your attitude, your effort, and your energy every day, and collaboratively working with people towards a goal. And so I think we're doing the same things with this basketball camp here in Canada. And
what keeps you coming back to St. Andrews? I can't say how beautiful it is to see your faces year after year.
The Algonquin.
It's the buffet breakfast. No, but honestly, for me, I think it's there's something really magical about St. Andrews. You know, we were joking yesterday about the deer being paid actors and how they just happen to like show up, you know, at all sorts of times. But just the being by the water is something special. Having nature so like actively present in the community is another thing. And then the folks that are here really believe in the community and they care about it and they care about its upkeep, and they make you feel like you're at home, like your family. And so every time I come back, it's always a warm welcome. And I know that for Joe, we also joke about him eventually becoming a resident here because of how often it seems like he's back. But as you can see, he's really carved out, you know, a home here, and everyone really appreciates that. And you know, I'm grateful that I can be a part of this, and it's always a pleasure and a joy to be here every year.
Yeah, and Joe, so I guess that means we should expect to see you next year as well.
Yeah, and we always try to bring. This year we have a new coach, Vinny, who I've known forever, that came up with his wife and daughter. So we try to give different people that experience, and it's just such a. There's never anyone I brought up that has not fallen in love with this place. And after 10 years, you'd figure there'd be one or two, but it never it achieves every time we come up here. It passes the test.
And finally, what's on the horizon for you? What are you looking forward to this year?
Oh, wow. Yeah, this year, I mean, for our team, we're looking to repeat again as champions, and we have a couple of guys on our team, Bez Mbang and John Poulikitis, who I think have a shot of having a chance to play in the NBA, and so helping them develop into the players that they ultimately want to become. And then making sure that we develop our younger players into guys who can really contribute for us, and there's going to be a lot of room for a deep bench to be used, and we'll see kind of how it all plays out.
Well, it's fascinating to follow your career. I really enjoy doing it from here and then seeing you again in the summer.
Thank you.
Joe, what's next for you?
I'm going to head to PEI for a little non-basketball vacation afterwards, and go to a couple Yale games, second guess the coaches any chance I get. And actually this year, we had some two kids from our camp came down to watch one of Brandon's games, Rowan and Bella Smith, shout out. And I took them out for some good New Haven pizza before, and we went to the Yale game with their parents, so it was sort of neat to see that. So just sort of continuing to follow college and high school basketball. We run our travel stuff in the summer where we've go to DC and Chicago and a lot of fun places like that, and continue learning about the game.
Well, thank you for always making time for us here. I love your annual visits, so please come back again next year.
Thanks for having us. Well, welcome back to Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV. As always, a great job by Vicky in the interview. Evan, do you know why I hate doing interviews with Brandon?
Because he's 2 feet taller than you?
Well, that's part of it, and he's 2 feet smarter than me. I'm looking up the meanings of the words he uses while we're doing the interview, and God, does he make me look like a state school schlub or what? But
well, now you know how I feel.
Exactly. Well, before we finish up this mishmash of an episode, let's get to some shout outs. Let's go, Big. You're first.
Keep in mind, pretty straightforward. I mean, it's that time of year. We got students going back to school, the toughest time of year for teachers. So shout out to all the teachers going in, educating the kids. Hang in there. Christmas is coming up. You'll get a break.
They putting any restrictions on cell phones in the classrooms up there? Because that's sort of one of the big stories down here in Connecticut.
Not provincially, but a few schools have decided to do it. So I think it's a matter of time.
Okay. All right. These damn kids. Get off our lawn with their cell phones in school. I'll have two quick shout outs. One to Laurie and Tony Mace, who allowed us the use of their home in St. Andrews for a few nights, and we're quite appreciative of that. And as the old saying goes, the views were to die for. My goodness. And the deer that they hired to prance around the property was a very nice touch by them. They're first-class citizens of St. Andrews there. Also, a quick shout-out to my friend Bill Jacobs on his recent marriage out in Chicago. Billy and his brothers own Peace, a great thin crust pizzeria and brewery in the Wicker Park section of Chicago. Shameless plug. Check it out at peacechicago.com. That's Piece, of course.
Nice.
All right, time to exhale. Well, that is it for episode 75 of Mc&T Sports Report. I'm Joe with my fancy Canada basketball shirt down here in New Haven.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good. I'm Evan here in St. Andrews, New Brunswick.
Thanks to Patrick Watt and Florence Mitchell for producing and editing a show that parents force their kids to watch if they don't do their homework. The ultimate punishment.
Hey, that's how our views go up, baby.
That's it. We'll take it any way we can get it. This is Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV. We'll see you next time for our big 5th anniversary show.